I reached a rock bottom moment in my life several years ago, and I turned my life completely around in 6 months. So today I'm going to tell you the 7 steps that I followed to make that shift in case you're someone who feels like you're at a really low point in your life and you want to make a shift and you're feeling stuck and you don't know how to begin. I do have some notes here, so if you see me looking down, that's what I am looking at. I'm not going to share my extensive backstory and what led to all of this because I don't think that's helpful. We're not comparing rock bottom moments here. If you feel an urge to watch this video or to share it with someone else, that probably means that this is something that's meant for you to hear today and that this is going to help you. So whatever rock bottom definition you have for yourself, go with that. What that looked like for me at that time was I was incredibly deep in debt. I was spending 6 to 8 hours a day just scrolling on my phone to numb out how I was feeling about my life, how afraid I was feeling, how stuck and overwhelmed I felt, and I was feeling hopeless, and I was questioning if I wanted to live anymore. And it was a turning point moment. I knew that something had to change for me, something had to shift. I will tell you, this isn't the only time in my life that I hit a low point, but this was the one time that I was able to turn everything around in 6 months. So that's why I feel like this is worth sharing. The first thing that I did, I asked myself, what would someone who loves themselves do in this moment? And you might be hearing that thinking, well, I don't love myself, so that's not going to help. And that's exactly why this question is the beginning point, because I didn't love myself at that time either. So in order to figure out what someone who loves themselves would do, I began to study other people who looked like maybe they loved themselves. I would watch videos from people like that. I read books. I just kind of began to study people who seemed to be modeling what self-love looked like. And then I took some notes and I took a few action steps, and I just brought really small things into my life every day. Wake up in the morning and I would ask myself, if I was someone who loved myself, what would I do? And then I did one of those things that I had written down. And I can tell you that now I am someone who deeply loves and accepts myself. And so that really did begin to create that shift for me. The second thing is that I saw that there was only a part of me that wanted to die. I felt at the time that I was consumed by this and that was all of me. But I began to see that it wasn't all of me. It was just a part that was protecting me and trying to keep me safe, because it believed that dying and exiting the world was the only way to survive. It saw that as my only option, which I know seems ironic because it's not surviving, but it just saw it as my only option. So simply being able to see that it wasn't all of me, but it was a part of me that felt so hopeless and so much loss of control, being able to identify that it was just one part was really helpful. All right, the third thing I did is I developed a really close relationship to the part of me who felt shame, just immense shame for getting where I was at that point in my life. And I didn't add to the shame by adding to the story. I just offered love to them. And I said, literally, hi, Shame. Good morning. You are so welcome to hang out today. You're an old friend. We know each other well. You are welcome here with the rest of me. Shame, you're welcome to come along with whatever we're doing today, but you're not in charge. So I just developed this really loving relationship with the shame and the guilt instead of adding to it. And the fourth thing I did, I really dove deep into internal family systems or parts work. If you're not familiar with that, there is a free book that you can watch here listen to here on YouTube on audio, No Bad Parts by Richard Schwartz. I'll link it in the video description. I wrote down the parts of me who I saw that I could identify. And of course I identified the parts that were the shame and the guilt, and the part that wanted to exit the world, the parts that were struggling and fearful, and all of the darkness, even though it's all welcome, right? The darkness shows the light. But I wrote down all the parts that felt heavy and weighted and dense and dark. And then I also wrote down the parts of me that weren't that. The parts that were alive and wanted to be a creator like I'm doing right now. And the parts that were adventurous and that loved people and loved my family and that wanted to see the world. And I just wrote down all these parts of me, and I began to see, wow, there's an internal ecosystem in here. There's a whole world in here. There's not just this heavy, dense part that doesn't want to exist anymore. There's a lot going on inside. I'm complex. And that allowed me again to just love all the parts of me. This one is really important, and I continue all of these things, right? They're a moment by moment thing, but this one I really welcome you to start like right now today. Visualizing consistently morning and night the life that I wanted. Because you might think visualization is silly, but you're already visualizing, my friend, right now. when you're afraid of the worst case scenario and you can't imagine anything else other than what's right now, and so you're imagining the next bad thing and the next bad thing and what will happen then and what will happen then and what if they find out. That was my story. You're visualizing all the time already, whether you want it or not, and so you have exactly the life that you have seen for yourself. So instead, you're going to begin to visualize something different. To do this, I want you to write down your perfect average day. This is not your vacation day. If you have got a month vacation, what you would do on your vacation. This is what your life would look like if it was your perfect ideal life. Don't hold back. And it's probably the simplest things, right? For me, it's like always seeing the sunrise with a cup of something warm to drink. Yours doesn't need to look like mine, but I want you to write out in vivid detail what you're drinking, what you're tasting, what you're smelling, who you're spending time with, what you're hearing around you. Emotional, because this would be something I would describe in my perfect average day, and I'm in it right now. Write down how you would walk, how you would carry yourself, maybe what you would be wearing. It doesn't have to be expensive, right? You're gonna get really detailed about who you would be in your perfect average day. And then every night before you go to bed, you're going to read this again. Bonus points if you write it again. And I don't mean copying it word for word. I mean rewriting it again and again and again, because the details will change all the time. This one thing was huge for me. I did this for months. Every night before bed, I wrote out my perfect average day, and I wrote it in the present tense, like it was happening right now. I'm so happy and grateful that today I got to wake up with the sunrise, and then I went snowboarding in the fresh powder, and then I came back and I served client. I wrote it in the present tense, even though every single one of these things wasn't already happening, right? But I wrote it as though it already was. And I began to claim that life that I wanted, and I began to put all my attention on that. Doing it right before you go to sleep is really important, because then you take it into your dreams when you enter theta brainwave state. Revisiting this over and over and over creates a totally different reality for you, because you are visualizing exactly what you want. Extension of this fifth part is then you're going to pick one or two of the things in there that you can do right now, even if nothing changes, even if you're still single but you're wishing for a relationship, even if you're still deep in debt and you don't know how you're going to get out, even if your business is upside down, whatever the thing is that you want to be different, you're going to pick one or two of these things that you can control right now. Like for me, I use the sunrise example. I could do that already at that time. I could get up every day and see the sunrise. I didn't have to wait for my perfect life. I wanted to share meals with people in the evening, so I could start doing that. It didn't have to be at fancy restaurants. It could be meeting a friend in a picnic in the park. So you're gonna pick one or two really simple things that would be part of your perfect average day, and you're going to bring them into your life right now in this moment. Slowly over time, you start to become this person. You're going to do gratitude waves. These are very simple. You're going to set 5 alarms in your phone. The first one is when you're going to wake up in the morning. I'm not going to tell you the perfect time to wake up, but your first alarm is going to be when you wake up. You're going to call it a gratitude wave. Then you're going to do 4 more times. And throughout the day, when that alarm goes off, like a nice little chime, it's going to remind you to just say thank you and feel into the energy of gratitude. Feel gratitude for what you have right now. If you're someone who connects with the divine, with spirit, with God, with Allah, then you're going to communicate with them and express gratitude to them, whoever that is for you, or if it's nature, you just feel into the energy of gratitude. Those 5 times throughout the day. Powerful, powerful tool for changing who you are and changing your reality. And then those were really first 6 things that I did. And then also along the way, as I started to pull myself out of that heaviness and that darkness, I began to do goal or purpose work. So I want you to pick one of these, either a goal or purpose work. You might not feel ready for it yet, but you will once you start to lift yourself out of this dense energy. So just hear me out on this one. You're gonna pick a goal that you can control or some purpose work that you could offer into the world. Let's say the goal might just be that you wanna walk 10K steps every day. And this isn't about productivity, this isn't about hustle, this is about feeling like you're in charge of your life again, okay? Start a garden, you're gonna learn to play the ukulele. I decided to do a thru-hike. I wanted to do it for 30 years, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna become someone who does a thru-hike, and I did eventually do it. I hiked the Colorado Trail. But picking a goal that you can control and working towards it, because it gives you a reason to want to get up and keep moving forward in the morning, keep, going forward in your life. or purpose work. So that could be volunteering 1 or 2 hours a month somewhere in your community. That could be, which would be really powerful, is keeping track of your process here, what you're learning through this process, then eventually sharing that with someone else. Maybe you're recording videos about it and you're sharing it online to help other people. Maybe you're writing about it in Substack or Medium. Maybe you're just keeping notes because you don't have the energy right now to turn it into something to share with the world, but you're going to track your process of coming out of this dense energy into this bright luminous light through this period of time, this 6 months, and because you know eventually you're going to be able to help someone with it, right? So if you can see your struggle as purpose, it starts to feel even less heavy instantly because you realize, oh, my struggle becomes someone else's trail map. All right, so those are the 7 steps. Anyone who is wanting to move their life forward, they're rebuilding their life. Maybe you're wanting to rebuild self-trust in the fact that you actually can make all these changes, and you want to become someone who follows through on the set of things you say you're going to do. And you just need a little encouragement every week to keep going. Stuff like this, what I'm giving you here right now with the same kind of love that I'm sending to you right now. And I invite you to drop down into the video description and sign up for one thing. It's a free note that I send out every Sunday night. Drop into the comments if you have any questions about what I've shared, or the one that really jumped out at you of the 7 that I shared. If there's one that really spoke to you, one that you're going to take action on right now today. All right, sending you so much love as always. Have a beautiful day.
But don't give up, just hold on tight, it'll be alright.